Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Wreckfest, a game that's been in early access for many years and it's finally being released early in June. It's also known as the Rammer's Paradise and you understand that in a bit. This is an online multiplayer match that I was playing, and I would assume that most of you watching my videos are about the same age as I am. I am in my 30s. And if you are in your 30s, you have probably played Destruction Derby. That was a really popular game back in the PS1 days, and it was an awesome game. It had a lot of destruction, it was very chaotic, and of course the technology was very limiting back then, but these days technology has evolved so much that it allows for things to be taken as far as Wreckfest does. The main aspect of this game is the soft body physics simulations, and if you're unfamiliar with the term, basically it means that the cars are gonna deform based upon speed of contact, where the car hit your car, and the angle at which your car got hit. So all of these aspects are going to be taken into consideration before your car gets deformed, and the deformation in this car in the cars in this game can get pretty realistic, and things are gonna start falling apart from your car. Your car is gonna start bending in many different ways. It's not like a predetermined deformation point. It's gonna deform pretty randomly based on the aspects that I just mentioned. And this game is surprisingly fun, to be honest. I didn't expect that. This is an exclusive game for the PC right now. It might come to consoles, but nothing has been told as far as I know in this regard. And as you can see, this guy tried to block me off, and this pretty much sums up most of other racing games. But in this case, you don't feel pissed off, you don't get mad because people try to screw you up, because that's pretty much the premise of this game. You are supposed to screw people up, you are supposed to take other players down. So it's very fun because of that. There's no frustration going on, and if you're getting frustrated, maybe this game isn't for you, because this is pretty much what this game is all about. But back to what I was talking about, this game is a PC exclusive for the time being, and it's a really fun game. I didn't have high expectations for this game, but the physics are surprisingly good. It reminds me of the very first impression that I got when I started playing Forza Motorsport back in the day. And this is how good the physics in this game feel. Usually these games are either too simulation driven, or sometimes too arcadey, and it doesn't strike a balance between the two. But I think this game strikes the perfect balance between simulation and arcade. It's not a proper simulation in the sense that you don't need to have a proper knowledge in regards to how a car works. It helps because it's gonna allow you to drive better, but you don't necessarily need to know this sort of stuff when you play this game. And the driving feels buttery smooth, as I would expect from any racing game. And man, the physics in this game is definitely one of the biggest things this game has to offer. It's not gonna disappoint you. The cars have weight. You can feel the weight transfer when you're taking corners at high speed. You can feel that some of the cars are a little bit lighter, some others are a little bit on the heavier side, but all of them have very distinct characteristics that sets them apart from each other. And it's such an amazing thing to have in a game like this, because it gives this sort of variety that you would expect in a game that's entirely centered around destruction. Now, there are two destruction models in this game. There is normal and there is, I think, realistic. In realistic mode, things can get pretty bad pretty soon, especially so if you play the single player mode. In the multiplayer, I have played many matches so far. These were the very first ones that I played, but I played many matches in online multiplayer, and I noticed that even though the game is supposed to entice you to screw people up, most people are not gonna try to just try to take you out of nowhere. They're gonna try to do that over corners, not on straight lines, mostly. And the reason for that is that you have a health bar that you can see in the bottom left corner. Mine is sitting as 83 right now, and if it zeroes out, you're out of the race. You're gonna get wrecked. So people try to avoid contact in the sense that they're gonna get damaged. So if you try to screw people up, the other person's gonna get damaged, but you're also gonna get damaged yourself as well. So that's something that you need to be careful about, and that's something that I think people are usually careful about when you're racing online. You don't want to get out of the race early on the very first few laps. So you're gonna try to be careful in this regard. But when you're playing the single player mode, the AI is really aggressive. At times it feels like you're playing against real players. It doesn't feel like you're racing against AI at all. And I'm gonna bring a couple videos of the single player just so you can see what I'm talking about, but that's gonna be in a different video. But the AI in the single player, you can be racing alongside on a straight line, and the AI might just try to take you out on a straight line like a normal person would. Like a normal person, I mean like a real person would. And this is such an awesome thing to have, because it gives such a sense of realism to the game that you wouldn't expect to have in a game these days. Usually AI has some sort of, you can tell that it's AI, but in this game most of the time you can tell that it's an AI that you're playing against. So it's awesome to have that. Now, another thing that I like to talk about that's coming up from what I was talking about, the physics. The physics have two modes. It has the normal and realistic. And in realistic mode, your car can take only a couple hits and then you're out of the race. And it's funny because your car can catch fire if you take too much damage. Your car may end up with your wheels bent, with your car entirely squished. So, and when you set it to normal, the physics, the damage in the physics is a little bit lighter. It doesn't feel as aggressive and as intense as the realistic does. So if you want to survive single player, I would recommend that you play in normal, but for the sake of experimenting and seeing how far the physics in this game can go, I would recommend that you try to do a couple races in the realistic mode, just so you can see how amazing the physics in this game looks. Now, as far as the online multiplayer goes, another thing that I absolutely love is that people can create lobbies and host their own races with their own rules. So you have all those varied types of lobbies for you to play. Some are based around banger race, which is the type of event that I'm playing, which is basically a normal race where you are allowed to take people out. There is also the destruction mode, where pretty much all you have to do is take other people out. That's all you have to do to win the events. So you have all those type of different rule sets that you can join or you can create. And that adds to a lot of variety, because you're not playing under rules set by the game itself, which is awesome. The game also has tuning, which is not something I'm gonna be touching upon because I have absolutely no knowledge about tuning at all, so I'm not gonna pretend I know. The game has also performance upgrades that can increase your acceleration, your top speed, your handling, your braking. And it also has the armor upgrades. These, I think, are the most important aspect of the upgrade system in the game, because that's gonna make your car tougher. It's gonna come at a cost. It's gonna your performance is gonna take a hit, but your car is gonna get a lot more resistant to damage, and that's very valuable when you're playing either single player or multiplayer mode. So these are all of the aspects. You can create liveries in the game as well. If I'm not mistaken, I need to double check on that, but I'm gonna cover that in more detail on my upcoming video. So let's focus now on the multiplayer race. All of these players, well, at least most of them, they are real players. And in case you can find enough people to fill up an entire lobby, you can add bots into the game, and as soon as real people start joining in the lobbies, the bots are gonna give way to the real people. So you're not gonna have a lobby preventing people from joining just because it's filled up with bots. So usually the way you can tell whether it's a bot or not is that it's gonna have a little mark beside their names, and as you can see, there's no mark, so all of these players are actually real players. So I'm in 5th place. There's a car that's kind of, I don't know what happened there, but he got left behind. I'm in 4th place. This is an 8-lap race. I had no idea about the track layout. As I said, these are my very first online multiplayer races, and I barely even touched a single player yet because I was so curious to know how this game would feel in multiplayer, and I'm so happy to report that this game is fun as hell in the online mode, even more fun than the single player. And the single player, from the very little that I touched, is very fun. It's so varied. It's not like those bare bones PC games where you basically have free play where you can set your own rules and that's it. No, this game has a proper career mode with objectives, with events, with championships, with things for you to unlock. So in this sense, it feels very much like a console racing game, which is a big positive in my opinion. But anyways, I'm in 4th place still. These guys are really good. I remember that I had some really intense racing with them, especially this King Hawk underscore 99. He seems to be a very consistent racer. He goes a little bit into deep, ends up making contact with the wall, but it isn't enough for me to go for an overtake, so I'm gonna have to hang in the back for a little bit, and I just about went over that elevation with 2 wheels, and you saw what happened. So my car bottomed out. This is all related to the physics. The physics in this game are very realistic, so you need to be careful about elevations as well. It's not about damage and people trying to hit you up. You need to be careful about elevations and the angles at which you take some of the corners, because it can take your car out of the line that you're trying to take, and sometimes it can make you bottom out. Or also it's difficult for me to predict what's gonna happen with this car, because as I said, the physics in this game is so advanced that there's no telling what's gonna happen to your car depending on the situation that you're on. And I lost the position there. And as you can see, this guy in 4th place, Tox underscore 42, this is a bot. So it's an AI, but as you can see, it doesn't feel like AI. I tried to take him out, but my first attempt didn't work. My second one didn't work, and there's no telling. I can pretty much guarantee that at least when you're playing the game, you can tell AI from real players apart, and that's a very big thing for me. I really appreciate the fact that the physics in this game and the AI in this game are so well done that these things are kind of, it becomes one. There's no difference between them. And from this point on, the race is gonna pretty much die out, because I'm about to cross the line into the 7th lap, I would believe so. Yeah, 7th lap. And I'm still in 4th place. I managed to take my 4th place back, and I just about managed to keep the car under control. I almost spun out. This is the type of game that you just can't floor the gas as you come out of corners, because you can pretty easily spin out. So in the sense, it kind of reminds me of Forza and Gran Turismo. And Flex, that's a real player. Something happened to him, I have no idea, but it looks like he's a back marker actually. I thought he was gonna be the 3rd place, but he is a back marker. And somehow I managed to reel the third place in fairly quickly. I believe that this guy was pretty much very far from me, but Looks like something happened. These guys are battling between themselves, and of course I'm gonna benefit from that immensely. I go for a pass here. uh, I kind of squash this guy against the wall. It's not enough. It wasn't intentional, but even if it was, that's fine in this game, but it wasn't intentional. I was just trying to take the corner, and these guys are trying to take each other out. I'm not sure. Yeah, I thought I was gonna finish in first, but that was a third place finish, which is nice because I was hanging in fourth for most part of the race, so it was nice for me to almost take the first place in this race. Moving on to the third race of the video, again on the same track. I haven't created a lobby, so I don't know how that works, but I don't know if the host actually chose the same race or... Did you see what happened back there? So I took up the first place pretty quickly. But back to what I was saying, I don't know how you set the rules. I don't know if you choose the races that you're gonna take part in some sort of playlist, or if you choose the tracks as you go. But the host set the same track. It's kind of nice because it helps me familiarizing myself with the track quicker than I would if I was just going through all sorts of different tracks. I'm still in first place, but as you can see, the second place is just about 1 second behind me, so that's not a lot. If I'm not careful, I'm gonna get screwed up or overtaken. And in this race, I remember this D3D Ninja was also a very fast racer. I remember I really struggled to keep up with him once he got to the lead. I'm not sure if that's gonna be the case here, but as you can see, he tried to go for a pass. I tried to block him off. That kind of worked. It wasn't the perfect defensive move there, but he managed to overtake me because I kind of screwed up over that corner, which is yeah, that's kind of bittersweet. I was expecting to keep my first place for as long as the race took, but that's not gonna be the case, so that's gonna be a fight for the first place from here on out. And this guy seems to be very consistent as far as I can remember. I don't remember exactly every moment of this race, but he seems to be a very consistent racer. I don't know if he played the early access. I had never touched the early access because I didn't have a PC until early last month. But I've been reading a lot of stuff about this game, and it seems that the game in early access was a very different game from what they released. And when they released the game and people saw that the game was very different, most people seem to have had a positive reaction to the change. So the developers were really careful regarding what they were doing with the game, and as you can see, it shows a lot of passion. It shows that they really crafted this game for many years with a lot of passion, with a lot of focus and effort. And I don't know, I'll have my fingers crossed for this to become a regular franchise. There's already a 2.0 version in early access that I got for free along with my purchase, so I'm gonna be checking that out later. Haven't checked that yet. And as you can see, the 3D Ninja is kind of pulling away a little bit. Little by little, he's pulling away. The third place is a staggering 12 seconds behind both of us. So that's a very nice gap, and a gap that's big enough for me not have to worry about either of them overtaking me at any point, at least on the third and fourth place. And the 3D Ninja kept the lead and won the race, so that's gonna be a second place finish. That's fine though. It was a really fun race regardless, and as you can see, he's a really good driver because he's driving a less powerful version of my car. My car sits at 144 performance PI, and he sits at 121. So that only goes to show how good this guy is. So next race, in this track's case, this is gonna be some sort of a figure 8 track. So there's gonna be some crossing over between cars that's gonna help with the chaos a lot. As you can see, there's a lot of content going on over this first section. 3D Ninja is off to the first place already. I think he actually started in first place. And this guy takes me out. Oh my god, this is a bot. I thought it was a player. He tried to avoid me, so that's very realistic in this regard as well. I'm in 8th place out of 18, so I'm close to the middle of the pack actually, so I'm not necessarily at the middle of the pack. I managed to overtake him. I'm in 7th place. Now that's where things can get a little bit chaotic, as there's the crossing that I just talked about. And that's gonna be the source of much of the chaos in this race. This track is a little bit tricky. It might seem that it's a simple one, an easy one, but it's very easy to either overshoot the corner or undershoot it and end up sticking to the wall on the inside of the line that you were supposed to take. So you need to be careful regarding how much speed you carry throughout these corners. I try to push this guy a little bit off to the right side just so I have enough space to take my corner. Kind of worked because I'm up in 2nd place already out of 7. So that's a really good improvement, but as I said, that's the very first instance where the crossing is gonna have a negative result in my racing. But that's fine, I'm still in 2nd place. This grape drink kind of overtook me, but he got taken out at the crossing, so that's very good news for me, at least for me. For him it wasn't that good. And man, whenever I came across this crossing, I was very tense because I knew that I could be taken out at any moment, even if I were in 1st place. This guy gets taken out. He seems to be a back marker because I am in 1st place, so there's gonna be a lot of back markers due to the nature of this race, and I kind of braked just in time to avoid the car that was jumping over that elevation, which is great because I managed to keep my 1st place. But I'm not gonna be as lucky throughout the entire race, as you're gonna be seeing. I think over the next lap, if I'm not mistaken, I almost got taken out. And yeah, I just about managed to avoid this guy as well. There was a really nerve-wracking situation. And yeah, there goes my luck. Man, but even though these things happen, I don't get frustrated, I don't get mad, because that's the nature of this race. It's an entirely different thing from when you play Forza, for example. In that game, this sort of situation is very frustrating, but in this game it's not frustrating at all. So that's a 2nd place finish. It was supposed to be a 1st place finish if I hadn't got taken out over that crossing on the last lap. But that's it, guys. That's a game that I really recommend if you're into this sort of advanced physics kind of games that feel buttery smooth to drive. I don't have anything negative to talk about the game yet. I still need a couple more hours with the game to figure out what this game is all about. What are the negative sides? What are some of the other positives that I may have not be able to spot yet? But all in all, that's a pretty good game. I really recommend this game if you're into this kind of stuff, as I said. And I'm gonna be playing a lot more of this game. I do intend on bringing more of these online videos on this game, because the online racing in this game is so unpredictable that it's fun, it's different every time that you race. So that's a very positive aspect of the game as well. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel for more Wreckfest content, share the video with your friends and on your social media, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye.